Insane, you make me crazy, insane, that's how I feel, insane, you make me crazy, insane, that's how I feel,
Hey guys, and welcome back to another edition of Dysfunction Junction. We are on episode 19, and I can't believe it. So, I hope everybody has had a wonderful week. Mine's been dragging. I'm really tired this week, you guys. I can't take it. These kids are driving me crazy. The Hubs is driving me crazy. Work's driving me crazy. And I don't know which one is worse. I've joked about this before. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast before, but I swear I'm going to make a t-shirt that says, "Why are you crying?" Because I feel like I say that all day long. Now, granted, I've had another little, my 3-year-old has been sick this weekend. He's been fighting a fever. But the rest of them, and he's not even the whiny one. It's the other kids that are driving me crazy. It's going right through me, and I don't know what to do. I just want to run away. I need to win the Megabucks or something because I need a vacation. Now, of course, look, I need a vacation, but I don't really have a good support system to have anybody take my kids, so I'd have to take them with me. But if I had a lot of money and could go on a really nice vacation, I could either, 1, hire a nanny, or 2, go on one of those, like a cruise that will actually babysit your kids for you. You know what I mean? Like they have a whole bunch of stuff for the kids to do, and they have people there watching them so the parents can go off, and that's what I need. I just need a break. You know, my husband says, well, you go to work all day. That's not a break. Okay? I need a mental break. I want to be able to just take a day off and, you know, sit at home. And I've said this before. A vacation for me would be me staying here and the rest of them leaving. Go away. Because to be quite honest, I'm not comfortable like in a hotel room and not in my own bed and my own space and my own surroundings. You don't get a lot of rest. I know it sounds ideal, but I don't get a lot of rest if I'm sleeping anywhere other than my own bed. And my kids are the same way. But it would be nice if I could take a day off, stay home, stay in bed, watch Netflix all day, and surf the internet. That's all I want to do. I'm not asking for a whole lot. Just that. But more than just a day, because that day is going to go by really quickly. A couple days would be nice. Well, keep on dreaming. That'll only happen, like I said, if I win big bucks. And I have to tell you guys a secret. I'm so desperate to win the Megabucks that, now Megabucks, for people who, I don't know, who are listening elsewhere, it's only a couple people. I think I might have 4 listeners. But if anybody is listening, one of those 4 listeners are out of this, you know, the New England area, Megabucks is a lottery. It's the big lottery. And it's like $8 million, I guess, tonight, which isn't a lot of money compared. I mean, there have been ones that are like $23 million, but $8 million is enough for me if I win it by myself. I have gotten so desperate to win this Megabucks that tonight I went to Maine State Lottery and I looked up all the winning numbers to the Maine State Lottery. And I wrote all the numbers down, and I wrote down how many times those numbers have come up, right? Those numbers have come up in winning succession, and I wrote them down. And my husband and I went to the store tonight and bought a Megabucks ticket using the numbers that usually come around again and again. Now, we did this, I think, was it this last week or the week before? We went through and looked at all the numbers and the ones that, you know, normally come up. And we had 2 numbers. Now, I know that isn't a big deal. 2 numbers, big deal. You don't really win anything. but we've never had a number before. Never. We've never had numbers come up, and this time we had 2. So maybe this time when we play, we'll have 3. What if we had 4? Oh my God, I'm so excited. I think I would, and I haven't decided if I want to like buy everybody out who lives on this street and, just make it my own compound, or if I want to just leave this hellhole and buy another piece of land with a house and live like just a big fat rat. I haven't decided. And if I do win, I'm not telling anybody. I don't want anybody coming out of the woodwork and asking me for money. It's not happening. Anyway, that was that's my thought for the day. I've actually had a lot of thoughts. I've been really kind of off, and it's so weird. I know last week I talked about mental illness because mental illness is really close to me, and I've had people in my family struggling. And then the next day, Kate Spade, it's announced that she killed herself from an apparent of course, suicide. But she's found dead of an apparent suicide. I'm like, what the heck? It's just terrible. And then again this week, Anthony Bourdain, who is a really famous, successful person, kills himself. And then I read another story about, I think it was like the Queen of the Netherlands, her sister does the same thing. And I'm just completely shocked. And this thing is lagging on me again. Okay, ADD moment. Last week, I'm not sure if the 4 people who are listening realized that there was a whole part of my episode that was missing because it kept freezing on me, and I just kept talking because the number was still, the audio position was still going up. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm still recording, still happening, and apparently no, I didn't record anything, and it just froze on me again. It didn't freeze as long this time as the other time, but it's just going to drive me nuts. So anyway, back to what we were talking about before I had my ADHD moment. Again, I need to have a little clip of music. I'm still trying to figure out how to work the audio clips of music to add them in to make segments, because I'm going to turn that into ADD moment, ding, or something like that. I don't know. I'm not that clever. But anyway, back to, I say I'm a lot, I know, and I'm not, and I don't edit it out, but this is how I talk. This is me. And, I don't have a lot of time to waste on editing. So I'm sorry if it bothers you, but you're going to have to either not listen or listen to the ums. Sorry. But, what was I talking about? Oh, yes. So it just goes to show you that it doesn't matter. Even if I did win the megabucks, okay, I would still have the problems that I have. It's not going to make my kids stop crying. It's not going to make it just did it again. Sorry, guys. ADD moment. Ding. It keeps lagging. I'm going to be so mad. I did it again. Oh my God. I can't handle it. It's totally freaking me out. I don't know why it's doing this, but if listen, I will cut this thing short if I have to. Oh my gosh, please, dear Lord, don't lag this thing. I don't want to record it again. You guys will have an 8-minute podcast. I'm not kidding. Even if I won the megabucks, okay, even if I had a lot of money, bad things are still going to happen. You can have all the money in the world and you can still be unhappy. You can still be lonely. You can still feel like you have nobody. And I forgot my train of thought where I was going with this, but I have to stop and remind myself about that. That it doesn't matter how much money you have or how big your house is or how many vacations that you go on. that doesn't make you happy. And people will look at these famous people and say, I don't get it. They had everything. Why would they want to leave everything that they've worked so hard for? And it's because the emotional pain is not only emotional pain. Anxiety, depression, mental illness can also be a very physical pain. You are physically hurting. Bastard. It's doing it again. Oh, it's lagging so bad. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know if this thing it just wants to drive me crazy. I'm going to keep going. And if it's chalky and you miss some pieces, that's why. It's because my Audacity is sucking butt. My gosh. All I want to do is have a deep thought. I can't even have a deep thought. I can't. It's doing it again. It's doing it again. I can't. I'm going to keep going. I just can't handle it. I'm going to keep talking because I really shouldn't be looking at my screen because every time I see it, it bugs me. And you 4 people, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I please come back again next week. I can't promise it'll be better, but just please come back. I need people. I need friends. Anyway, mental illness is not only emotionally painful, it is physically painful. And I'm going to give you an example. And I don't know if I talked about this on my last podcast or not. And I'm sorry. I know this is supposed to be a comedy podcast, but it's just not turning out to be that way. I wanted it to be that way. That was my intention, to joke about, how much kids suck, parenting sucks, work sucks. And that's just not happening for me. It's not. That's just not the way it goes. So if you're looking for a comedy podcast, look, I guess I'm not your gal. I mean, it'll be funny. I'll have funny, little clips or moments. I'm funny. I'm a very funny person. Ask anybody. I'm funny. I'm quite clever. But these are some things that are weighing on me right now. And I feel that if they're weighing on me, they must be weighing on one other person out there. And like I've said, and when I'm going to talk ADD is real, people. The struggle with ADD is totally real because my mind is going a lot faster than my mouth. One of the things that I don't know if I said this before, I probably did, but my memory is terrible, is that one of the biggest things that helped me when I was struggling, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I had postpartum depression before I was even postpartum. It started right when at conception. It was terrible. And one of the things that really helped me and saved me was the fact that there was other people out there who were going through the same things that I was going through, and they made it. They made it through the other side. And I don't know if these people who have, who are now gone, who the pain was so bad that they had to take their own life, I don't know if they knew that there were people out there who went through the same things that they were going through and made it through. So if there is a person out there who's listening to this podcast who just happened to find it, looking to find a laugh, and they found my crazy ass, if them knowing that I went through this at one point in my life and I made it through and I am, I'm fine, well, as fine as I can be in my own cray-cray, then I will be too. That person will be too. You can be. You can feel better, I promise. But back to my point of what I'm saying is that not only is depression and, anxiety, mental illness, whatever, mental illness is, I think that covers everything. Anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, associative disorder, borderline personality, whatever it is that you're suffering from, a combination of all of those things. When I was pregnant with my daughter, like I said, I had postpartum depression before she was even born. It was terrible. And I think part of it was because I like I've said before, I'm very open. I take anxiety meds. Anxiety and depression run through my, in my family. It is genetic. But I went off my medication while I was pregnant with my daughter because I thought it would be the best thing for her. And your brain is so powerful that it makes you think things that aren't there. It makes you think things are happening that aren't there. And I'm not talking about, hearing voices or seeing people. And I'm sure with some mental illness, that is true. But for me, it was more like, looking at my husband and thinking, I don't love you. I feel this way about, how I'm feeling is because of you. I don't like you. So you being here is making me sad. It's making me miserable. I kicked my husband out of our home when I was like 5 months pregnant because I thought the reason why I was feeling this way was because I was unhappy in my marriage. I was unhappy with him. And quite frankly, he was driving me nuts. Even his face looking at me was annoying me. So you're going to have that with pregnancy anyway, because your hormones are so nuts. But I ended up finding out that I was, in that process that I was pregnant with twins. Before I asked him to leave, I did find out that I was pregnant with twins. And that, and then I found out a little while later that one of my twins had passed away. And I work in the medical field, and I'm very aware that lots of times when you have a loss like that, your body will try to expel that loss. It's going to try to get rid of it because now it's a foreign body. And so now it's like an infection, and your body is trying to get rid of that infection in your body, and it's going to try to expel it. And so the whole time I was terrified that I was going to lose my daughter. Thank God that didn't happen. They were fraternal twins, which means they had 2 separate sacs, 2 separate placentas. Everything was separate. It was 2 separate pregnancies. And as long as she survived and she was growing and healthy, my body would still think it was pregnant. On top of that, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I wasn't taking my meds. So right after the death of my daughter, my other child I was pregnant with, got even worse, my depression. And like I said, I kicked my husband out. I asked him to leave. I wanted a divorce. And once he was gone, and he wasn't gone that long, it was like maybe a few hours, and I felt no relief. I realized that this is my problem. This is not his problem. And I called him and I apologized. And this is another reason why I'm in love with him, is that he came back and he took care of me and he took care of my children. And I would lay in bed and have these panic attacks. And when you have a panic attack, you really feel like you are dying, like you want to peel your own skin off. You are that uncomfortable in your body. It's like a dissociative disorder. It's like you're not even in your body. That's how uncomfortable you are. I would sit in the bathroom and cry and throw up and cry and throw up because I just wanted to get whatever was inside of me out. I felt that terrible. I just wanted to get it out, and I couldn't, and I just had to get through this pregnancy. I just had to get through it. And when she was born, when we got home, I couldn't even have her in my room. I couldn't have her in my room. I didn't want her in here. I couldn't listen to her cry. And I said, I need to I got to go back on my meds. I have to. I am miserable. And I tried to stay away from it. I did. But I just couldn't. It was terrible. The feeling was just so terrible. And I'm thankful that, and at one point before she was born, after, when I had kicked my husband out, I went to the doctor's office and they thought they were going to have to admit me because I was that unstable and that miserable. And I went to the emergency room and I met this woman. And like I said, and I think I talked about her last week, they came over from Crisis, and she told me that I just went through this. I just went through what you're going through. And I was like, are you sure it'll get better? Are you sure? And she said, honey, if I can make it through it, you can make it through it. I am telling you, you will make it through this. You will. You just have to be patient. You've got to be strong. You've got to, ask for help. You've got, and so when I got pregnant with Brody, I said, I am not doing that to myself again. I am not. And actually going off my meds was not a good thing for my child because your body is under such stress. And, thinking back, I wondered if I was the cause of my other child's death. Was the stress and the anxiety and the panic, just too much for that little baby? I don't know. We'll never know. But it is a physical pain, not only just emotional. It can make you tired. It can make you weak. It's mentally exhausting. It makes you it's just exhausted. And this is something that you do not choose to have. Again, it is a disease. Mental illness is a disease. It's something you don't choose to have. It is genetic. There's nothing that you can do about it except take care of yourself. If you need medication, you take that medication. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel guilty. It's just like if you had, I don't know if I've said this before, if you had a vitamin deficiency, if you're vitamin D deficient, you take vitamin D. Your brain, mental illness, and I'm not a doctor, I am not diagnosing anybody, I'm just telling you my own experiences, that mental illness is a chemical imbalance in your brain. You are missing something in your brain. Your brain gives off hormones and chemicals it tells your body, what to do. And if it's missing something, it's not going to function properly. So you take whatever chemical you are missing in your brain, you take it in pill form, and you get better. Not only with that, but with counseling and, support from family and friends. And I say that, okay, but I also want to make a comment of dealing with mental illness from the other side. Now, I went through mental illness myself, and I've worked through it, and I'm better. I do have good days and bad days but everybody does. Sometimes you're going to be sad. Even if you don't have mental illness, you're going to get depressed or sad or overwhelmed or anxious. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. But what I was going to say, when you're also the family member of somebody dealing with a mental illness, it's exhausting to that person too. You can only deal with crazy for so long. So when you have somebody who is in love with somebody with a mental illness and they leave or they divorce that person or whatever it is, they have to think of their own mental well-being too. That's important. That person is suffering and you love them and you want them to get help, but sometimes there are other people that you have to think of too, like me as a mother. Now, I know that my ex-husband, that his alcoholism was a symptom of his mental illness, and I loved him. Okay? I loved him, but he couldn't stop drinking. And my children's safety was at stake. Okay? So, not that I didn't love him, and I didn't want to support him, and I didn't want to help him, but I had two little boys who needed me, and they needed to take care of themselves. I needed to take care of them. They couldn't take care of themselves. So as much as I cared about that person, I had to leave. I had to. And so don't judge the people who don't stay with people who have mental illness or aren't helping the other people as much as you think they should be helping them. Because it's hard. It's really, really hard. And sometimes you have to put yourself before that person. And it's hard to do. It's very hard to do, but you have to. You have to. And don't care what anybody else says or what they think or whatever. Because they don't live your life. You have to live your life and you have to take control of it. Plain and simple. Now, I'm going to say one thing, and I'm sure this person doesn't listen, but I have a girlfriend. Now, we're not really that close, but we're, Facebook friends, and her husband suffers from a mental illness. I'm not sure what it is, but he's also a veteran, and he's been to war, and I think he's got some PTSD. And he's gone missing a couple times. He's gone where he's just up and taken off. And no word to her, no word to any of his family. He just leaves. And this last time that it happened, which was recently, she didn't go out and look for him like she did before. She did post it on Facebook. If you've seen him, please look for him. Please tell him we want him to come home. But she did, don't get me wrong. I mean, she did what she could, but this lady has 2 children who are in school. She has a job that she needs to work. And if this man doesn't come home, she can't lose her job. Who's going to support her children? And there were people who were actually making comments to her and judging her, like, I can't believe you're not out there looking for him. I can't believe you're going to work. I can't believe you're doing this. I told her when I saw her, I said, you do what you have to do for your family. He is a grown man, and whether he is suffering from mental illness or not, he can take care of himself. Your children can't. So for people who are judging other people for how they think they should be responding, you do not know until you're in their shoes. And not to mention that she had a job and kids, but do you know how exhausting it is to have to worry about a grown person and where they are? And I know mentally he probably wasn't aware about, actually, no, scrap. I think in some cases that these people aren't aware. They just get up, they wander off, and and they do whatever they do. However, there are some people with mental illness who know exactly what they're doing. They know why they're acting the way they do, and they don't want to get help. And those people are the ones that are the trickiest, and the ones that you have to really watch out for. But back to my friend, she's been dealing with this for so long. And after a while, you've got to think and you've got to wonder, in some point in her heart, is she wishing, I hope he doesn't come back. I just can't do this anymore. I will hope this is it. I hope this is the time that he just stays away, because I need to get on with my life. I can't keep doing this. You can't keep worrying, is he going to come home? Is today the day that I'm going to get a phone call that he's done something, or someone's done something to him, or, my kids are wondering when dad's going to come home? It's hurtful. And I think after a while, you just want it to be over. And that doesn't make you a bad person either. That makes you a human being. You suffer when the person who's taking care of the person with mental illness suffers too. It's exhausting for them as well. So until you're in their shoes, you cannot judge. You can't. You have no idea what they go through every day in that person that they deal with day in and day out. So that's my spiel. I hope if any, I've helped somebody today, whoever is listening, the 4 people, if you're having a rough time. Oh, and one more thing, another thing I want to go back to. For the person who doesn't want to give up on the person they're dealing with who has mental illness, don't judge them either. Because there are going to be people who are going to judge the person who's with somebody who has mental illness. I can't believe you're still with him. I can't believe you're putting up with this. You should leave. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to your children. It doesn't matter. If this is right for you, you want to stand behind the person who has mental illness and you want to love them and care for them and take care of them, then you do that. And we have no right to judge you. No one has a right to judge you because you stay. No one has a right to judge you because you leave. This is your life. And you have to live it the way you feel is right. And just because what's right for one person doesn't make it right for the other person. There are women who have stayed with their alcoholic husbands because they don't want to leave. They think they can change. Whatever the reason is. And there are women like me who says, I'm out of here. I can't handle this anymore. And that doesn't make you a weak person that you stay. It doesn't make you a strong person that you leave. It just makes you a person, and that's your decision. Flat out. You live your life and do what's best for you. I will say, However, if you are in danger and you are being abused or your children are being abused, it's probably not a good idea that you stay. And in people who do stay, you have to remember, who have children. It's one thing if you're a single person and you're staying with this person and you're caring for them, but when you have children, it's different. And you may not think that your children see everything, but they see everything. And they know what's going on. And it affects them, whether you think it does or not. It does. It affects them. So remember that for the people who choose to stay, who have children. I'm not judging you. If that's your choice, that is your choice. You have your reasons. But just remember that those reasons affect your children. And they didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to be born. So just think about that. I did not expect this to be Mental Illness Day. Not Mental Illness Day. Every day is Mental Illness Day around here. I have 5 kids, for crying out loud. That's insane in itself. I mean, why? I don't know. I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess. I don't know. I don't have an answer. But that's not what I wanted my show to be about. I didn't talk about famously failing. I didn't talk about my keto update, but that's okay. I will save that for a different day. So I am going to close this hot mess of mine. But before I do, I want to remind all my main peeps that the Hosanna Church in Oxford is hosting a Lighthouse event on July 5th, 2018. We are hosting the J.J. Weeks Band and Austin French. And for those of you who don't listen to Christian music, J.J. Weeks is a contemporary Christian band. It's not like it's our church up there singing the hymns. Law. It's a really awesome kick-A band. Even stuff you can dance to, you can chill out to, whatever. They're amazeballs. To date, they've opened for everyone from Mercy Me and Casting Crowns to label mates Unspoken. And in addition, their music has been featured on the official soundtrack for some high-profile films, including God's Not Dead and Four Blood Moons. And with the debut of their very first national release in 2013, the group earned a top 10 single with Let Them See You, a song that remained on Billboard's National Christians Audience Chart for 29 weeks. And Austin French became a pastor at the age of 18 and led his own congregation for 3 years. In 2014, he was runner-up on the first season of ABC's A Rising Star. Let me just say, I don't know how he was a pastor at the age of 18 and ran his own congregation because at the age of 18, my son could still not get himself up for school or any other important event. I do not know how he did it. It must be a God. I wish God would make my kid get up brush his teeth, for crying out loud. But yeah, run his own congregation. Anyway, doors open at 6. The concert starts at 7. Tickets are $15. Go to thelighthouseevents.com for your tickets. You can also find links to all this stuff on my website at www.dfpodcast.com. And if you had to have enough of this, of my voice, I also want to tell you where you can reach me. I want to thank you guys for listening. To the 4 people who are listening to me now, I wonder, you know what? I'm going to check this out. I'm going to see how many people listened last time. I had 3 people last week. Let's see if I can increase that. Anyway, please be sure to follow us on all of our social media pages. You can connect with us on Facebook at facebook.com/dysfuncdrunk7. And of course, on our Facebook group page at facebook.com/groups/DF podcast. If you prefer Twitter, you can find us at twitter.com/dysfuncdrunkmom. And for all you Instagram peeps, you can look us up at Instagram patreon.com/dysfunkdrunk7. And at last but certainly not least, if you've ever find it in your heart to, help me out, buy me a coffee. Like I've said before, the podcast is free for you, but it's not free for me. Any little bit will help. If you want to just donate $1, that would be amazeballs. And by the way, I'm trying to say amazeballs as much as I can because my daughter hates it and I have nothing else in life but to torture my children. So please visit me at patreon.com. Thank you to Maria Whitney for being my first patron. I appreciate you, girl. You can find any information that we talked about today, which wasn't a whole lot, TBH, but it's got show notes and all that good jazz on my website at www.dfpodcast.com. I know, I'm a freaking hot mess. I don't know what to do. So before we go, let's check out the statistics of last week's episode. I had 3 listeners the week before. Let's see what we got now. And then I will let you guys go. Let me see. La, 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 la. Come on. I know. I'm wasting time. Let me see. Come on. Oh, my God. 5 plays, 9 downloads. What's up? Yes. So I got a couple more people. Sweet. Come on, people. Share me with your friends. Come on. They want a good laugh. Don't you think? Just tell them that you got to listen to this chick. She's a hot mess. She's crazy. Come on. Listen, I really want to be shared with your friends. Anyway, I get a couple more listeners. That's amazeballs. I'm happy with that. Like I said, even if I had just the 3 listeners, that's fine. I'm cool. I'm easy breezy. No worries. What else is I going to do? I forgot. Anyway, thanks for riding the Hot Mess Express, and come back next week for another episode of Dysfunction Junction. Thanks, guys. Peace.
Insane. That's how I feel. Insane. You make me crazy. Insane. That's how I feel.